About 3 years ago, I did an EP with a guy named Walter Finley, and one of the songs on that EP is called While the Sun Still Shines. I also did a music video for that song, and it's interesting because there's a really cool story behind the video, and there's also an amazing story about how they got through COVID, which involved them putting a PA on a boat. And what's really crazy is that after all this time, the song is starting to get some airplay around the country. So that got me thinking about the acoustic guitar parts in the song and how much I liked them, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. Check it out. Typically, I record acoustic guitars with just a single mic, but if I'm using two, they're usually set side by side with the diaphragms aligned. Now, what I used on this song was my TLM 170 here in the middle, and then these two TLM 103s on either side. Now, they're about a little over a foot from the middle mic, but what's really important is their distance from the sound hole. And often I've found, because I have to push these mics back a little bit, I gotta flip the phase on these sometimes to get it right. It's also important to make sure that all these mics are at the same height. I've also used these mics here, AKG 414s, as the left and right mics, or I've used one of these as a center mic, and then these Josephson C42s, which are like Neumann KM80 184s. Use those as the side mics on either side, or I did a million variations, maybe put one of these in the middle and these on the sides, although I have liked using the 414s as the left and right mics as well. It just really kind of depends on the guitar and the player. So let me show you what I did in Pro Tools with this. And like I said before, the key to this thing is to try to get all the mics in phase. So what I normally do is have the guitar player record a little bit, and I literally just come in and look at the waveforms like this. This is the main mic right here. Here is his left mic, and here's his right mic, and you can see here that the left mic is a little behind, and this one here, let me slide it up against the main one here, it's maybe a little ahead. So what I'll do is I'll actually go in there and move the left mic a little closer in to the center mic to try to get it in phase. So it'll be more like this. And you're never going to get these mics totally in phase with each other just by sight or even by ear, because the sound is going to be different coming at different angles in the room that you're in. At a certain point, I'm just doing it by ear. But let me show you what it sounds like. There's just the main mic that I normally use, but here's the stereo mics brought in. Back off. Back on. And it's such a nice sound because it's not crazy stereo sounding, but it's got more of that 3D sound that you're used to when you're actually sitting with an acoustic guitar. Like, I like a single mic on an acoustic guitar when I'm doing really dense productions or certain kind of sounds, but I always miss that naturalness. The other thing that's kind of cool with it is you can still pan the center mic. Check this out. Still hear it over there, but you still got that kind of bigness to it. Let me turn off the other mics. Back on. And then what I did on this song, I wanted to double his guitars, but also kind of have this sound in there. So here it is with all the mics on both the guitars. Now I'm going to turn off the left and right mics on both guitars. Sounds good. But let me bring in those left and right mics again. It's just a nice sound. And you got to make sure that the guitar player doesn't move around too much, because just him, swiveling a little bit like that could actually throw off the phase in the sound. So make sure he's, sitting pretty still, and always make sure that he gets some sort of fixation where his headstock's pointing at, so on each take he's always pointing his guitar at the same spot. And then I did some EQ on the individual microphones. Let me show you what I got here. This is what I had on the left and right mics. just a little low end pulled out. I'm usually on acoustic guitars, I'm usually lower, like around 100 hertz or 120 hertz. On this, it was a little higher. I've got 150 hertz that I'm pulling out. On the center mic, I'm pulling out 138 hertz, almost 4 dB of that. And then I took both of the guitars and I ran them through an auxiliary return so that I could treat them together, like this. First thing I did was roll off a little bit more super low end. I think I was hearing a little rumble down there. Then I did a little more EQ. I took out some mid-range right here, and I boosted some presence here at 2.7K. And then I wanted to glue them a little bit together, so I used my UBK compressor, which I love. Then I added tape head. I really like. It's a great tape emulator, but it does a cool thing with the mid-range that I like a lot. I threw that in. Then a teeny bit more EQ here. Just wanted to pull out a little bit more lows here. Check it out. I'll play them all together. There we are with no plugins. Let me turn them all back on. And then the mix. And then once I got into the mix, I ran into this problem with the acoustic guitar, and I'd not really noticed it until later in the mix, and I'll show you what it is. Check this out.
Let's go fishing while there's still time. Make hay while the sun still shines.
It's his fingers squeaking on the strings. And it's so loud. I mean, I tried all this stuff with automating EQ and kind of lowering down the volume right there, but you can't lower down the volume because the other strings are still ringing through there. Now, you could use stringies, which is something that you spray on the strings, but I always feel like it's going to degrade the strings quicker. Some people don't like the smell. It smells kind of weird and it gets on their hands. So this is what I ended up coming up with. Check this out. I ended up pulling up a good old de-esser right here. And I automated the de-esser to just turn on when his strings were squeaking. Make hay while the sun still shines. And here it is without it. Make hay while the sun still shines. Big difference. Never actually tried a de-esser with an acoustic guitar before, and it was something that I heard other people talk about and pulled it out as a last-ditch effort, and it worked perfectly. And that's how I recorded and mixed the acoustic guitars on Walter Findley's While the Sun Still Shines. I hope you liked it. Remember to subscribe, and if you like the song, please call your local radio station and see if they're playing it, because I love this song, and I'm going to play some of it going on out of this video. Have a good day, and remember, be unique. Let's go fishing while there's still time. Make hay while the sun still shines. Sweet tea at my new cane pole. Head down to the fishing hole. Let's go fishing while there's still time. Make hay while the sun still shines. Sweet tea at my new cane pole. Head down to the fishing hole.